The average American gardener spends over $200 a year on pesticides. Most of those products require repeated applications because they kill the pest, but do nothing to change the conditions that brought it. The problem always comes back. A different wave, sometimes a different species, but it comes back. And the gardener goes back to the store. That cycle is not an accident. It is, in fact, a business model. And understanding that is where this story begins. In the 1950s and 60s, as synthetic pesticide companies were establishing dominance over the agricultural supply chain, a significant body of research on fermented plant and mineral sprays was quietly defunded and removed from extension service recommendations across the United States. This was not a dramatic conspiracy. It was a slow, institutional shift driven by money. University agricultural departments began receiving funding from chemical companies. Research that supported the sale of proprietary chemical inputs got published and passed down to farmers through extension programs. Research that pointed to low-cost, farmer-controlled solutions stopped getting funded. When research stops getting funded, it stops getting done. When it stops getting done, it stops getting taught. Within a generation, farmers who had used fermented sprays for decades found that the knowledge simply stopped being passed on through official channels. The Amish, who remained outside that system entirely, kept using what worked. In Holmes County, Ohio, Amish gardeners prepare a fermented spray at the beginning of every growing season. They have done this for generations, long before the word organic became a marketing term or a price premium at a grocery store. The spray is made from 3 ingredients that cost less than $2 combined. It is fermented over 48 hours, diluted before application, and then applied to the garden routinely. It works on aphids, caterpillars, whiteflies, spider mites, and fungal infestations simultaneously. A researcher named Amos Troyer spent time on these farms documenting the exact recipe from direct observation and tracing why it worked, as well as it did. When organic matter ferments, beneficial microorganisms multiply rapidly in the liquid. These microorganisms produce compounds that are hostile to pathogens and soft-bodied insects that damage plants, while being completely harmless to plant tissue and soil biology. Garlic contains allicin, a sulfur compound that disrupts the nervous system of soft-bodied insects on contact. When garlic is fermented, rather than simply crushed, the allicin concentration increases significantly, and the spray becomes systemic, meaning the plant absorbs trace amounts through its leaves and becomes less attractive to pests even between spray applications. This is the mechanism the Amish understood empirically long before the chemistry was identified. Take 1 full head of garlic and separate the cloves without peeling them. Place the unpeeled cloves in a glass jar with 1 liter of water that has been left out overnight to allow any chlorine to dissipate. Chlorine kills the beneficial microorganisms needed for fermentation. Add 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar and 1 tablespoon of unsulfured molasses. The vinegar introduces the right bacterial cultures. The molasses feeds the fermentation process. Seal the jar loosely with a cloth or with a lid left slightly open to allow gases to escape, and leave it in a warm location away from direct sunlight for 48 hours. After 48 hours, the mixture will have a sharp, fermented smell. Strain out the solids. Dilute the liquid at a ratio of 1 part. Concentrate to 10 parts water before applying. Spray directly onto plant leaves, covering both the upper and lower surfaces, in the early morning or late evening, when the sun will not cause leaf burn. Apply once per week during active pest pressure, and once every 2 weeks as a preventative measure. Within 24 hours of the first application, soft-bodied insects begin leaving treated plants. Aphid colonies disperse, caterpillars relocate. Whiteflies, which are notoriously difficult to control with conventional sprays, are particularly sensitive to the fermented garlic compounds. After 3 or 4 weekly applications, the systemic effect begins to take hold. Treated plants develop a scent profile that most garden pests find unattractive, reducing new infestations even between spray days. Fungal issues, including powdery mildew and early blight, show measurable, consistent regression within 1 week of application, because the beneficial microorganisms in the spray compete directly with the fungal pathogens on the leaf surface. If you want the complete system in one place, I have compiled a full guide covering this recipe alongside every other Amish pest control method Amos Troyer documented. Exact dilutions, application timing for every pest type, and seasonal schedules for every growing region. The link is in the description for anyone who wants the full system. This recipe has 3 ingredients. It costs under $2 to make. It has been used continuously for generations by communities that could not afford for their pest control to fail. People growing food their families depended on, with no margin for products that almost worked. Think about that when you consider how simple this is and how long it has been available to anyone willing to look past the products on the store shelf. Leave a comment telling me which part surprised you most, whether it was the fermentation mechanic, the fact that the industry research was defunded and buried, or simply how straightforward the recipe actually turned out to be. And if you want to keep going with this, subscribe. The next video covers the companion planting system the Amish use alongside this spray, which addresses the pest types that fermented sprays do not catch.